And good morning. Thank you for joining us. I am Tamara Scott. It's Tamara Scott Live with Truth for Our Time. We offer you help when the headlines hit home. And as you know, oftentimes they hit all at once. We believe if God expects you to live through it, He's directed you how to do it. And so always offering hopeful truths that you can use, that you can learn, and that you can offer to others. If you know of somebody else you'd like to hear this show, we have them available at Tamara Scott Live online, Tamara Scott Live on the YouTube. We also have our sponsors, ChristiansForAmerica.com. Christians for America, we thank them for coming alongside with the Crave Revival, offering help to people out of addictive lifestyles and behaviors, and also offering us hope as a nation, what will improve, what will correct, what will bring us back to those foundational strengths that made this young nation the towering leader in a free world so quickly in our young life as a nation. So we thank them for their sponsorship, also for Webcast One Live, who also comes alongside and helps make this show possible. As you know, last week we had a live show, a lot of fun, great minds all thinking back and forth. It was a brain trust of activity on the Common Core. And just to update you on that, those public hearings we spoke of last week are still happening here in Iowa. Tuesday, February 24th in Ottumwa, 4:30 to 6:30 p.m., Great Prairie Education Agency, Tuesday, February 24th, 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. at the Great Prairie Area Education Agency. Then on Wednesday, the 25th, the very next day, when a lot of people like to go to church, there'll be a meeting at 4:30 to 6:30 p.m., Keystone Area Education Agency in Room 1, ABC, Room 1, A, B, and C. And then Thursday, the 26th, so 3 days in a row, in Sioux City, 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. So they had the first one in Waukee, probably to see and hear, and then they could develop their talking points and rebuttals before they went on the road with it. We know that oftentimes these are nothing more than dog and pony show, and that's unfortunate because Iowa does not have the money right now to invest and to increase the cost for test. And we know with Smarter Balance, New Generation Science Standards, the cost for the test, I think, increases maybe 3 to 4 times. Right now, they think it's around $3 per student per an assessment. With these tests, they're anywhere from $27 to $30 per student. An increase we do not need when we're already struggling on the budget. As you know, they're proposing a gas tax hike here in Iowa, not what Republicans certainly campaign on, limited government and lower taxation. So certainly not what we campaign on when we hear in the campaign speeches. But this testing, you see, raises that in budget that's already tight, and it's not necessary. People don't want it. They don't want their students going through the online test. There are too many situations and concerns about the assessments that are out there right now. You see the outcry from the liberal left. You see it from the unions. You see it from the teachers. You see it from the parents and the students. The standardized testing is run amok. And I think Senator Lamar Alexander had a bill to squelch the number of federalized standard tests. We also talked last week about his reauthorization of No Child Left Behind, and you can do a search on Aaron Tuttle, the author of Hoosiers Against the Common Core, spoke with us about the dangers in that bill. We do not want that bill. We want to let No Child Left Behind sunset. In that bill, schools will then submit their education plan to the national or federal Secretary of Education for their approval. At that point, you lose your local control and you become, in her words, a slave-master relationship. That was Aaron Tuttle that gave us that information last week. So we'll keep you in tune. We'll start again with more Common Core. But being Valentine's Day last week, I wanted to take a little time out because though we do understand the need to be involved and engaged politically, we also understand that sometimes we need to be involved emotionally on the home front, biblically on the home front and from the church front. And we're dealing with a lot of these issues in law because we haven't dealt with them in our hearts. And so Valentine's Day, I wanted to come back and kind of talk about that subject. Mario Diaz from Concerned Women for America, the national organization out of Washington, D.C., has written an interesting article that same-sex marriage is not inevitable. So we'll be talking to him about that. I also contacted Brian Brown from the Nation for Marriage, or National Organization for Marriage, and Brian will be joining us for the second part of this half hour. So for those of you who like to cause trouble and get into shenanigans, just at least thank you for telling the truth and allowing the truth of this show to be spread to that many more people who might not otherwise hear it. The truth of the Word of God and hope for individuals is out there. On the home front, I want to talk to you something that hit the Des Moines Register. And Ryan, I don't know if you have this available and you can put it up, but action heats up at the Capitol. Ban on conversion therapy for gay lesbian youths moves ahead. Openly gay Senator Matt McCoy is promoting this. And I have not looked at the legislation, but the legislation itself, I think, calls for penalties if someone would offer help to an individual who is struggling with their sexual identity. And I have an article here by someone by the name of Walt Heyer, Heyer. Don't know Walt. This is not an endorsement of anybody's lifestyle or ministry or anything else. Don't know them, but here's an article, and you take the truths where you find them. As a former child transgender, my heart goes out to parents whose boy says I'm a girl or whose girl says I'm a boy. The medical diagnosis is gender dysphoria, distress that comes from feeling one's physical gender doesn't match one's internal perception. But he goes on to talk about it and warns us that oftentimes there's deeper underlying problems, and even saying that, let me see if I can find my copy here, that the other issues very well could be environmental, could be something else, and that it would be dangerous not to allow someone to talk about the other issues. Immediately treating a transgender child as his opposite sex without addressing the underlying psychological needs will hurt him, probably forever. Studies indicate 2/3 of transgenders suffer from multiple disorders at the same time, or comorbidity, it's a new word for me. The top of the 3 disorders evidenced in transgenders are depression, specific phobia, adjustment disorder. A child who states a desire to identify as a sexual opposite has 2/3 chance of having coexisting disorder. Oftentimes we see these stresses from an unstable home environment, real or perceived, separation from a parent by death or other events, serious illness among family or child, domestic violence in the home, neglect, perceived or real, sexual, physical, or verbal abuse, strong opposition disorder from social norms. So he says parents need to find medical professionals who are not advocates for gender change. That, on the same day as I'm showing you, we are now dealing with this at the State House. Didn't know that was going to be the case when I asked our guests to join me today. So we're going to take our short break first. We'll go to our commercial. We'll thank our sponsors, and we'll be right back with Mario Diaz joining us. His article out is that same-sex is not inevitable. It may not be the numbers of support that the left and others would make you think are out there. And we'll also talk about some of these issues, good or bad. What do we need to do? What's in best interest for our children? Stay tuned. I am Tamara Scott. We'll be right back.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can give these grandkids back, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We can help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Hey, psst. Let me let you in on a little secret. You ready? Always try to do business with people, not places. Especially if you seek honest Christian business people. And when it comes to my car, I really need to trust who's working on it. Now, my family is so blessed. A few years ago, we found a family-owned automobile repair shop that operates as a Christian business also. open, honest, reliable, trustworthy. It's Amco on Hickman Road in front of Kmart. And it's a family-owned Christian operating business. This family treats your car as if it was their car. Everything from oil changes to transmission repair and everything in between. So the next time you feel the need to be at peace with your choice of who you can trust with your car, give Amco on Hickman a chance.